morning Eastern Time. And so you can be, as I try to get here a little bit early just to ensure my connection. And like me, you can just make sure that your seat's really comfortable. I'll be chatting for a few minutes before we start our meditation, and the meditation is about 12 minutes together, sitting still, listening inwardly. Really a very simple process, and the preamble, the little bit of Dharma talk I give is mostly about how to meet what we encounter in our journey of sitting. I like that phrase, how to meet what we encounter in our journey of sitting still. As those of you who have done this for a while, or even just for a little while, know that we encounter many, many things. It's almost like a virtual reality, right? We're sitting still in a quiet, usually we try to have a quiet space available for ourselves, and yet there's a whole internal reality that is with us. So, hello everyone, I am aLex Levin. Thank you for joining me today, or whenever you're clicking on this video on YouTube at Sun and Moon Yoga Studios page. It's such an important, such a vital practice, such a vital activity for me, connecting and also sharing in this meditation and the meditation practice itself. I'm stumbling on the word meditation practice, the practice part, as I was just listening to one of my strong inspirations, the teacher Rupert Spira. And he was talking a little bit about practice being sometimes a hindrance, the idea of a practice, of a meditation practice, as there's all kinds of shoulds attached to it, all kinds of struggles attached to it. Certainly he's not saying it's not a valid and wonderful practice, but just to see the traps that we can set up for ourselves is valuable. And today, one of the reasons I've angled the camera differently today is I wanted you to see Rupert, my Rupert, little Roo here. Most of the time, hopefully he'll be sleeping mostly quietly. He'll offer some snorts in his way of participating in our space today, probably. So as I talk a little bit about Koan Curiosity, probably for a few minutes, you can make sure that you've got a comfortable seat, the support you need. I'm sitting a little bit up on a cushion. I've got one leg supported by another cushion, something that allows you to be still very comfortably for the 12 minutes when we get to that point. So up till now, you could also use this time as you're listening to move, to prepare your body, to just go inside and be present in this space as you hear my words, as you participate together today. So Koan Curiosity, I often speak, and I wonder if this is true for you, of phrases we hear from our teachers or teachings we hear that resonate for us, that sort of align with some sort of inner knowing. And koans can do this. Koans are from the Zen tradition, but sometimes I find that teachings from other traditions have the koan flavor, and that is that it's a little bit like a riddle, little tricky to figure out. It's not something that there's a one right answer for. It's a question, and many of them are age-old questions, like you've heard the sound of one hand clapping, or your face before your parents were born. You might have heard that differently. You might have heard your face before you were born, your face before your parents were born. And one that smacks for me, of Koanship, Koanism, is, and I'm not even sure if it is from the Zen tradition, it might not be, is this idea that our suffering is, I think some teachings attribute it as the sole cause of our suffering, is that we think we are our separate self. We suffer because we believe, we think we are a separate self. So for me, that one really hits deep. I guess I have come up with some answers, and I think this is another aspect of koans, is that you may have one answer on one day, and another week or another day, another year, you may have another answer, and the answer certainly differs person to person. And a little more on the koans, if your teacher in the Zen tradition offers you a koan and it's not the right one, you'll get sent back to your cushion to find out more. So this sense of separation, and perhaps if you can bring a particular, you might even close your eyes and settle where you are. This is a little pre-meditation practice called focusing practice that I'm inviting us into together. And perhaps you have a recent suffering. I have a couple I'm going to give you just as examples that are really different than just as examples for what you could use. One was just my own meditation practice today, where I was really uncomfortable in my body, in the feeling of my musculature in the back body, and in the sort of having a bit of a hot flash, so the temperature discomfort. Another is some more personal, interpersonal discomforts, as some relationship. What is this? Butting heads. That is, some are long-term, some are newer, and how painful they are to me. And so another kind of suffering. And so this morning, as I was listening a little to one of Rupert Spire's talks, I was pondering so bring up one of those. It could be an easy one, and easy ones are good to work with, very good to work with. So I'm going to take the easy one for me, is that the easier one of those two is the physical. And just see and feel yourself right there. Draw up the imagery of that, where you are, what the other persons or things in the space you are in, what they're like. And the sensations you feel, the smells, the temperature. And what would it be like to just be here, as if a presence, a caring presence, someone, I'm asking you to bring in another kind of energy of someone that you feel easily cared by. Caring presence around that suffering, around that specific here now, conjured up in our virtual reality. And so already what's coming in is there's not a separation, there's a togetherness of this caring presence with the particular discomfort, irritation, pain. And this is not so easy. The words may sound easy, so if you're with me here and it's not happening, connecting for you, but it resonates for you, you find a curiosity, a wonder about it, entertain it and be gentle with yourself. it is just this presence together that might open something new, some new spaciousness, some new possibility. If this appeals to you, and if it's totally not your thing, let it go. If it appeals to you, and even if you're not sure if you got it, you can thank yourself, your inner presence, your knowing, our collective inquiry, and you can let it know, let this process know that you're available to come back sometime and inquire more. Kind of way, a little technique of self-study, one of our yoga tools. And it might be that it's very easy for you now, if you need an extra movement or setup, it might be very, very easy for you to just slide into our meditation that I will begin with a bell, and together we will bow. So the first step could be one of three things. Attend to your breath, attend to sounds, attend to the ground. I'll start with ground. And at ground, I'm checking in with the very, very, very tangible parts of my body. That are touching the ground, that are receiving ground support. Sense to how the heaviness of the left sits bone feels. And all that flows into that and releases downward toward the center of the earth. And how the right sits bone and pelvis feels. Particular pointers, locations I gave of sits bones, pelvis. And see how your attention focuses there, and invite the nearby areas and adjacent and the chain, all the connected areas, the legs, the feet, the belly, the low back, the spine, the upper upper belly, the rib cage, the lungs, the heart, collarbones, arms, hands that find their own sense of ground, perhaps resting on the body, on the legs. Throat above the heart, the neck, tops of the shoulders, sides of the neck, the head, the face, the brain. And the whole body together. Then sensing that second entryway, the sound, the whole body together. Sensing sound and space around. So sound offers this really wonderful juxtaposition of the external and the internal. Sound and space around. Space around us, but space also within. And this attending, if you notice, the quality of, are you striving? Is your forehead furrowed, or can you attend relaxedly? More and more to both the particular and to the whole, to the whole. And breath. of these can be your portal to presence, to this silent, still space of sitting. Ground, sound, breath. When you find that you've traveled somewhere to some problem solving or some place or some menu or wherever you've traveled in the virtual reality of your mind that is not right here, at that moment, you have woken up to now, to here. You can celebrate that. Allow yourself to relax a little bit more. Palms together in front of the heart and bowing together. So in the beginning, if you happen to have your eyes open, I was holding the bell to ring it, and then to not end the sound, I would just bring a half mudra, bring my one hand to center. Previously, I had put my hand on my heart, but I made a conscious decision to just bring the one hand, imagining the other hand was there, as it usually would be if I was not also the bell ringer. And in a sense, this is part of that knowing that there's no separation, there's no separateness. Every one object has at least an opposite, another. And so if this theme resonates for you, dive in. Maybe that's the practice where it doesn't have to be formal, but you may see it anywhere you are. And I'm inviting myself, especially as I know I may encounter some of my difficult spaces today, my places where suffering lurks and jumps out at me, that I try to remember and try to be gentle with myself if I forget to be that caring sense of earlier that we brought to our envisioning our suffering place, and that awareness, that spaciousness that hopefully you get tastes of, and we get more and more tastes of, and build that up in all the sources we can draw on. And I even broke my stillness of meditation to shift the camera so Ru would still be with us. And he, like many of our four-legged friends, so well embody the stillness and presence that we look for. Thanks for joining me today. Check out all our Sun and Moon Yoga Studio offerings. And Monday through Friday, we're here on YouTube, 10 o'clock Eastern Time for a half-hour asana practices. And I'm here on Sundays. Ciao, ciao.